So Tom Sowell has published a new book, Economics, Facts and Fallacies. Second edition is just out. So the economist Dr. Thomas Sowell from the Hoover Institute at Stanford University was on Dennis Prager's radio show yesterday, and Dennis asked him, "Are we headed towards Greece and that kind of bankruptcy?" And Tom Sowell said yes. And he makes the point that the debt ceiling is not limited debt. All it does is provides political cover for presidents to engage in runaway spending. He says the plan that appeals to me the most is that suggested by Moody's, get rid of the debt ceiling altogether. Dennis asked him, if you had 2 minutes to speak to the American people, what would you say? Dr. Thomas Sowell said, move to Australia. And he noted the Australians have better immigration control than we do. Dennis makes the point, so we couldn't get in. And Dennis asked him, well, what about the idea that under Bill Clinton there were budget surpluses? And Dr. Sowell said, the idea of naming deficits and surpluses for presidents shows how unserious people are. All spending bills in the United States originate in the House of Representatives. And Dr. Sowell makes the point, the Obama administration is pressing lending institutions not to foreclose on people who are unemployed for up to a year. There was a time in this country when individuals are expected to take account of the fact that they might become unemployed. Therefore, you don't spend your money up to the last penny. You do not take on obligations. You can only meet if everything goes according to plan. Everything almost never goes according to plan. Now some people are selected by the government and they can be as irresponsible as they want, and the government will rescue them at the cost of other people who are not in favor with the government. Country run like that lives off the cultural capital of the past, which we're using up without replenishing. So Dennis Prager asked him, what do you think President Obama believes in? Dr. Sowell said he believes first and foremost in himself. I've never believed that Barack Obama has the best interests of the United States at heart. I have not seen one speck of evidence of that. This whole business to force the banks, which is to say people who deposit their savings in the banks, people who save their money, why should they be the ones to bail out those who did not save their money and who took out mortgages they could not afford, but now they must be kept in those same houses? It's not a question of throwing them on the streets. There are apartments. Because they happen to be there in these homes, but unable to afford their mortgages, they have squatters' rights. It is up to people who put their money in the bank to subsidize their irresponsible behavior. So what are the origins of the housing crisis? One key fact without which there would not have been a crisis was that people stopped paying their mortgages. People had kept paying their mortgages, it doesn't matter which foolish policies were followed. When the money stopped coming in, the system was going to collapse. So how did the money stop coming in? Well, the government forced lenders to lend to people who the banks did not want to lend to, but the politicians wanted the banks to lend to. People who did not have the credit rating and the whatnot to be good risks for a mortgage. Politicians have learned they can get away with it, and the Justice Departments are already warning lenders again that if they don't lend to enough minority mortgage applicants to suit the Justice Department, they will be sued again. That is no favor to minorities because they've been harder hit when the whole thing collapses.